Run, the torrential rain is really coming. The rainstorm apocalypse is here. How am I going to survive? Before the apocalypse, I luckily hoarded a large batch of discounted supplies. I never expected it would end up saving my life. As a girl who pursues a delicate lifestyle, while the aunties downstairs were boiling cabbages, I was mingling in various discount groups. At around p.m., a few messages suddenly popped up in the discount group to thank our new and loyal customers for their support. Our store's biggest discount event since opening is about to start. Quantities are limited. First come, first served. These so-called discount groups sell products with slightly damaged packaging at low prices, but it absolutely doesn't affect their usage. The number of discount groups I'm in is even more than the number of friends on my WeChat. With 1 minute left until the event started, I widened my eyes and subconsciously held my breath. Everyone wants good and cheap things. At this moment, it was all about hand speed. The snatching competition quickly began. Big brand self-heating hot pot, original price 119 yuan or box. Now 59 yuan or box. Oh my god, 50% off. I'll take 10 boxes first. Immediately after, another link popped up. Master Kong instant noodles. Original price 59 yuan or box. Now 39 yuan or box. Limited to 2 boxes per flavor. I'll take 2 boxes of each flavor. That's my instant noodles sorted for the year. Next, solid alcohol, a great helper for outdoor picnics. Original price 30 yuan or box. Now 19.9 yuan or box. Buy 5 boxes and get a matching camping stove for free. Although I didn't really need solid alcohol fuel, with both a discount and a free stove, what was there to hesitate about? Next were frozen foods, hot pot bases, instant meals, and various other food and daily necessities. Although discount goods save money, they also easily make people lose their minds. The midnight flash sale ended right on time. I looked at my savings, which had shrunk by half, and belatedly realized I had been too impulsive this time. I had actually spent over 10,000 yuans. You know, as someone living paycheck to paycheck with a 5,000 yuan salary, it took me over a year to save up this 20,000 yuans. Although I struggled internally, thinking about the next few months, not needing to spend extra money on supplies, I quickly felt relieved. For the exact same goods, the prices in the discount were nearly half of what supermarkets charged. Buying it is a total steal. I secretly praised myself for being a master at saving money. As soon as morning came, I received a private message from the group admin. Because the amount of your purchase this time is huge, the store will prioritize your home delivery. Seeing such a good deal, I felt absolutely delighted. Turning around, I saw my empty water dispenser. I immediately took out my phone again and opened the water delivery app. A notification quickly popped up on the app interface. To give back to our new and loyal customers, we are launching a buy 10 barrels, get 1 free promotion. I stared at the new notification on the app and took a deep breath. Who could refuse a free barrel of water? Since the store running the promotion was in the same city, by the afternoon, the staff had already delivered the goods to my door. Box after box of supplies quickly filled up the entire living room. There were still a few boxes of self-heating hot pot left outside. Thinking they weren't too heavy, I just let the delivery driver leave first. while I slowly carried the 3 boxes of self-heating hot pot back inside. Halfway there, a loud laugh suddenly came from the side. Wow! You really never change, do you? Still buying this cheap garbage to eat. This person was the ex-boyfriend who cheated on me last month. Mao Bufan lived in the same apartment complex as me. We met through a mutual friend's matchmaking, but I never expected that Mao Bufan, the scumbag who looked quite honest, was actually a total playboy. Not only was he two-timing with multiple women, the number of sisters in his contacts was more than the discount groups. On my phone, even after we broke up, he constantly harassed me, always mocking my preference for buying discounted goods, saying it was unpresentable. I looked down at the self-heating hot pots in my arms. How is this unpresentable? Isn't it just that the outer cardboard boxes are a bit damaged? People like Mao Bufan were born to show off their superiority in front of others. Reasoning with this kind of person is useless. I put down the boxes in my arms, suddenly took a few steps forward, and slapped Mao Bufan hard across the face. Then I viciously kicked him a few times. A good dog doesn't block the way. Get lost, hey Emv. Mao Bufan was stunned by the beating. It was his girlfriend who reacted first, holding up her phone and threatening, "How can you hit people? Believe it or not, I'll call the police and have them arrest you." Call the police? I sneered, and also took out my phone. Then let the police come. I happen to have something I want to share with everyone. Mao Bufan seemed to realize something, and his face changed color. Enough. There's no point arguing with a crazy woman like her. After saying that, ignoring his girlfriend's protests, he dragged her and ran out of the building. Seeing the drama end just like that, the onlookers looked like they hadn't seen enough. An old lady came up and asked, "Young lady, what did you say you were going to share with us just now?" Of course, I couldn't just expose Mao Bufan's dirty laundry like that. After all, some things lose their value once they are spoken out loud. Returning home, I first cleared out the storage room. The apartment had 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The other bedroom was occupied by my best friend, Yao Yao. Taking advantage of her swapped shifts, she saved up a 3-day mini vacation and went back to her hometown. Over 10,000 yuan's worth of supplies isn't exactly a lot, but it still packed the storage room full. Just as I was checking my orders, it suddenly started raining outside. Heavy raindrops smashed against the glass. Urgent and fast. A thin mist of water quickly enveloped the entire city. Just then, a message suddenly popped up on my phone. It was a red rainstorm warning issued by the Meteorological Bureau. Immediately after, the company group chat also posted a notice, "Dear colleagues, the Meteorological Bureau has issued a red rainstorm warning. To cooperate with the government's work, the company has decided to suspend operations for 3 days." I looked up at the curtain of rain outside the window, and a surge of unease rose in my heart. To make our stingy boss give in and grant us a holiday. This heavy rainfall must be really severe. But thinking about the storage room packed full of supplies, I quickly calmed down again. So what if the rain is heavy? I just won't go out. If I budget carefully, the supplies I hoarded this time are enough to last me half a year without any issues. Soon, the apartment complex's resident group also forwarded the local government's notice. Dear homeowners, the Meteorological Bureau has issued a continuous red rainstorm warning. Please ensure doors and windows are closed properly and do not go out to avoid unnecessary losses. It's not like we haven't had rainstorms in previous years. We just live our lives like normal. Schools are suspended. Companies are closed. Finally, a legitimate reason to rest. The school just sent a notice dismissing kids 2 hours early today. Anyone want to go pick up the kids together? Watching the residents chatting away in the group, my hanging heart couldn't help but relax. I'm not a local, so dealing with typhoon weather, I certainly lack the experience these locals have. But since these locals are saying there's no need to be nervous, maybe things aren't as bad as I imagined. I'm just making a fuss over nothing. I breathed a sigh of relief and started scrolling through videos to distract my tense mind. What I didn't expect was that City A's continuous red rainstorm warning actually made the trending searches. Even my parents and relatives far away in the Northwest noticed this news. Relatives called one after another to check on me. After dealing with all the concern from my relatives, I let out a long sigh of relief. I stood by the window, watching the rainstorm outside. It's just a heavy downpour, right? I don't believe it can actually rain for 3 days straight. Facts proved that I was too inexperienced. The torrential rain really did pour for 3 days and showed a trend of continuously intensifying. On the first day, the water in the flower beds downstairs overflowed. On the second day, accumulated water poured into the garage. The residents in the complex complained bitterly. On the third day, rainwater flooded the first floor of the complex. The residents finally started to panic. What's going on with this rainstorm? What day is it pouring now? Yeah, we've had heavy rains in past years. But it would rain for a bit then stop. Nothing like this time, it hasn't stopped for a single moment. Never mind whether it stops or not. Can anyone come give a hand? My house is flooded. Seeing this message, several enthusiastic residents quickly volunteered to help. This is probably the kindness of human nature. Helping others within one's own capabilities. Holding a steaming bowl of self-heating hot pot, I sighed in satisfaction. Water and gas were cut off on the second day of the torrential rain. Being able to still eat steaming hot food now is all thanks to those boxes of solid alcohol fuel I bought before the storm. On the fifth day of the rainstorm, the rain hit the windows like stones, making people tremble with fear. In my memory, I have never seen such heavy rain. It poured down like thousands of galloping horses. Unstoppable. In my hometown, although there are occasional rainstorms, they usually don't last long. One that lasts for 5 days like this is simply unheard of. These past few days, the residents group has turned into a mutual aid group. Every household has encountered various difficulties. Looking at the increasing number of messages in the group, my heart hung in the air again. Especially when I saw someone say that the neighboring county is a flood discharge area. I suddenly remembered that my best friend Yao Yao's hometown was in a town in that very county. I hurriedly called her. Hello? Yao Yao. How are things? Halfway through my sentence, I sensed something was wrong with her emotions. Wei Yang, the terrain here is too low. Tens of thousands of acres of crops are flooded. How are you and your parents? The house is flooded. We can only move to higher ground. I lay on my bed, listening to the news Yao Yao just told me. And my eyes couldn't help but turn red. I also started to worry deeply for her. Here is the password to my bedroom. There is some food in there. And a first aid kit. If you feel unwell, remember to take medicine right away. You must always be wary of others. If rescue doesn't come for a long time, don't be foolish. And take everything out to share with others. After finishing the call with her, I walked to the window to continue observing the situation. Ever since the continuous torrential rain began, the first thing I did every morning when I woke up was report my safety to my family. The pattering sound of the rain, accompanied by my mother's nagging, somehow made my mind feel at ease. On the 10th day of the rainstorm, the water had risen to the 3rd floor. The residents on the 3rd floor cursed as they moved upstairs. With the rescue team nowhere in sight, the atmosphere in the building grew increasingly anxious. Today, the arguments downstairs lasted for a long time. I stood by the window observing the situation outside, while calling my parents. But I called for a long time, and they didn't answer. Tears uncontrollably welled up in my eyes. But I had to pull myself together. At that moment, a call came through on my phone. Wei Yang. Didn't you buy 3 boxes of self-heating hot pot last week? I really have nothing left to eat here. Can you give me a box of self-heating hot pot? It was Mao Bufan, that scumbag dog. I casually tapped hang up. But Mao Bufan quickly sent a text message to question me. Wei Yang. Everyone is short of food and water right now. How can you be so selfish? You won't even spare a single box of self-heating hot pot? Me? Selfish? I was so furious at Mao Bufan's words that I laughed. Hey Emph. Even if you give a dog a bone, it knows to wag its tail at you. But him, he's just a complete scumbag. I directly blocked him manually. But I didn't expect this guy to be so vicious as to spread the news in the resident group that I had supplies. Wei Yang. Do you have a conscience at all? The outside is flooded everywhere now. This is everyone's most difficult time. Bring out your supplies so everyone can survive together. Huh? We are all neighbors. We see each other all the time. Do you have the heart to watch everyone starve to death? Seeing these messages, a few residents who weren't in the habit of hoarding supplies indeed started getting ideas. Someone even tagged Mao Bufan directly. You just said the young girl named Wei Yang, in our building, has a lot of supplies in her hands. Exactly. Seeing someone engaging with him, Mao Bufan quickly replied. Before the rainstorm, I saw with my own eyes her bringing 3 boxes of self-heating hot pot home. The person asking fell silent. 3 boxes of self-heating hot pot are at most 18 meals. It's already been nearly half a month. How many could possibly be left? Seeing no one was responding to him anymore, Mao Bufan continued to clamor in the group. This person, Wei Yang, loves buying cheap discounted goods. I bet she has plenty of food in her house. She's just too stingy to bring it out and share. Believe me, everyone, I am her boyfriend. I know her best. Finally, someone couldn't stand seeing Mao Bufan taking up public resources like this. And fired back, boyfriend? More like an ex-boyfriend who got dumped, right? Otherwise, how could you screw over the poor girl like this? Are you just itching for everyone in this building to go cause trouble for her? I glanced at the contents in the group, and a layer of chill rose from the bottom of my heart. The rainstorm has only lasted a dozen days, so people still have some supplies in their hands. As time passes, everyone's supplies will definitely dwindle. I can't imagine if Mao Bufan had posted these messages a few days later, what kind of trouble it would have brought me. I took a deep breath and sent the evidence I had collected before breaking up directly into the group chat. A high-definition video of Mao Bufan two-timing and maintaining illicit relationships with multiple women, uncensored. No pixelation. Almost the instant the video was uploaded, the group chat exploded. Damn. That's some explosive stuff. No wonder the girl broke up with him. With a scumbag like this, who could tolerate it? That's a pretty unique hobby. Actually recording all of it. Hehe. Satisfying. This is exactly how you deal with a filthy scumbag. And he still wanted to frame her. Caught completely red-handed now, huh? Damn, the admin's hand speed is way too fast. I didn't even finish watching before I realized it got deleted. Hee hee. Bro upstairs. I was quick and saved it. DM me if you want it, only 2 yuans. I knew that once this video was sent, Mao Bufan's reputation would be ruined. But what did it have to do with me? He was the one who was ruthless first. Even if he wanted to incite the residents' emotions again in the future, people would have to consider the credibility of his words. Just as I was rejoicing, I suddenly saw the group admin send me a notice. Due to spreading inappropriate video content, you are muted for 3 hours. Great, just great. Wei Yang, you bitch. You're ruthless. You just wait. After dropping these two harsh remarks, Mao Bufan stopped sending messages. But I faintly felt that he was brewing a bigger conspiracy. I put down my phone and paced back and forth in the living room. I live in apartment building B, and Mao Bufan lives in building A. Logically, with the water being so deep downstairs, we shouldn't be able to encounter each other for now. But I was afraid a desperate dog would jump the wall. Mao Bufan is a person who cares deeply about his pride. Unless he was completely driven to a dead end, he would absolutely never have the thick skin to ask his ex-girlfriend for help. I thought for a long time, and my gaze eventually landed on the front door. The balcony and the bedroom windows all had security grills installed. If Mao Bufan wanted to get in, it would definitely have to be through the front door. I checked the door lock again, then pushed the washing machine, the refrigerator, and the sofa behind the door to block it. The bedroom and storage room both had combination locks. Without the password, you couldn't get in. I thought about it. If the front door is the first line of defense, then the bedroom is obviously the second line of defense. Before sleeping, I also locked the bedroom door from the inside. With my naturally sensitive personality, only by doing this could I sleep more peacefully. Day 15 of the apocalypse outbreak. I was in the kitchen cooking instant noodles when the sound of the door lock turning suddenly came from outside. Someone was picking the lock. My heart tightened, and I didn't even care about eating my noodles. My subconscious reaction was to run towards the bedroom, but on second thought, if the person picking the lock got into the living room, how much longer until they got into the bedroom? Besides, I had piled up the washing machine, refrigerator, and sofa behind the door. Even if they wanted to get in, it would take a lot of effort. Thinking of this, I gathered my courage and stood my ground. Whoever is outside, I don't care who you are. Leave right now. Otherwise, I'm going to scream for help. The person on the other side stayed silent for a moment before finally speaking up. Wei Yang. Don't be afraid. It's me. It was Mao Bufen's voice. I was so startled I stumbled back a few steps. The fact that it was Mao Bufen, that scumbag, made it even scarier, okay? Wei Yang. I don't mean anything else. I just want to borrow some supplies. This scumbag really hasn't given up his evil intentions. Mao Bufen. I advise you to leave right now. Otherwise, I'm really going to call for help in the group chat. Wei Yang. I am really at a dead end. Just for the sake of the time we spent dating. Let me in to grab some food. I didn't reply. I knew very well that Mao Bufen wouldn't stop until he achieved his goal. So I urgently sought help in the resident group. Everyone, can anyone help me? This scumbag has come to my door to steal my supplies. He is picking my lock right now. It was the middle of the night. I didn't know how many people would see this message, so I could only continuously copy and paste the text to spam the chat, praying that the notification sound might wake up a few people. Holding a kitchen knife in my hand, I kept my eyes fixed firmly on the door. Once I had posted that video, Mao Bufen and I completely tore off any remaining pretense of civility. I didn't believe he would just take some supplies and leave. And I definitely didn't believe he would let me go. Mao Bufen quickly noticed my spamming in the group chat. You stinky bitch, you really don't know what's good for you. Just you wait. Once I get this door open, the first thing I'll do is teach you a lesson. The door was banged loudly, clearly indicating he was violently trying to take it down. With a kitchen knife in one hand, my eyes remained glued to my phone screen, hoping someone would see my plea for help. Gradually, I fell into despair. The commotion here was so loud, yet not a single neighbor showed up to help. Maybe the others just wanted to look out for themselves. Or maybe they also wanted a share of the spoils. I had no way of knowing what others were thinking. I could only tightly grip the kitchen knife in my hand. If Mao Bufen dared to commit home invasion and robbery, would he hesitate to kill me too? After all, dead men tell no tales. In the future, no one would be able to hold him accountable. The shaking of the door grew more violent. Just when I thought this fight was inevitable, a new reply suddenly popped up in the resident group. Sister, don't be afraid. I'm almost at your floor. Hold on, I'm coming to help you chase away the scumbag. Sounds of fighting quickly erupted outside. Just as I was hesitating whether to open the door to help that kind-hearted person, a private message suddenly arrived on WeChat. Don't open the door. I live across the hall from you. There are two men outside your apartment. They are acting to trick you. My heart violently shuddered. I quickly retracted my hand that was about to push the refrigerator away. I suddenly remembered something I had overlooked. Mao Bufen didn't know how to swim. If he was by himself, how could he have swum here from the opposite apartment building? Did he really have an accomplice? Soon, the sounds of fighting in the hallway ceased. An unfamiliar male voice spoke up, "Sister, I've already subdued him. Hurry and find a rope to tie him up." Hearing this, I leaned against the door and looked through the peephole. I saw two men standing in the shadows. My heart skipped a beat, and I grew suspicious of the man outside. If both men attacked at the same time, I feared my front door wouldn't hold up for long. Since it had come to this, I could only desperately try to buy some time. I pretended to be terrified. "Big brother, I don't have any ropes at home. What should I do?" The man suppressed his impatience. "Then find some cloth strips. The sturdy kind. Will curtains or bed sheets work? Which of those two materials is sturdier?" "Whatever you want. Either is fine. Just open the door and tie him up quickly. Otherwise, he's going to run away." "No. What if the fabric isn't strong enough? And he gets away, what then?" The man seemed to have reached the limit of his patience. "Then what do you want to do?" Seeing that the man had completely lost his patience, and fearing that continuing this way would enrage him, I simply agreed to his condition. "Then please wait a moment. I'll go cut some curtains." Then I pretended to walk further away. While walking, I privately messaged the admin of the resident group. That's right. The same admin who muted me for 3 hours for spreading inappropriate video content. "How much longer until you get here? I can't hold on much longer here. Paid help request." The other side sent an emoji and replied, "I've already gathered some people. We'll be there in 2 minutes." I sighed in relief. Now I just had to hold out for 2 more minutes to be safe. Half a minute later, the man outside couldn't help but urge me. "Have you found the cloth yet?" "I found it. I'm cutting it now." 2 minutes later, the man had started getting impatient. "Are you done cutting yet?" Done. I deliberately pitched my voice higher. "Big brother, just wait a little longer. I'm moving the sofa and refrigerator away from the door." 2 minutes later, a voice exactly like Mao Bufen's sounded from outside. "You stinky bitch. You dare to trick us. You're dead." Suddenly, sounds of fighting broke out outside. It seemed my reinforcements had finally arrived. Gradually, the fighting sound ceased. After a few agreed upon knocks on the door, I opened the door. Visible to the eye were 2 men, tied up tightly. I finally breathed a sigh of relief, turned around and faced the admin's group to thank them. But what I didn't expect was that the admin was actually a young woman. Wait. Wasn't the person I was dealing with Uncle Chen? "My name is Siu. This account originally belonged to my father. Later, when he retired, he handed this account over for me to manage." I nodded. "As payment for helping me, here is the 100 liters of pre-stored tap water I promised you." 100 liters. Siu smiled, looked up and asked, "How do you plan to deal with these two?" I directly took out a shovel, knocked them out, and threw them out the window. After handling the situation, I once again blocked the door with heavy objects, like the refrigerator and washing machine. After dealing with the scumbag Mao Bufen, I lay in bed that night when an important notification suddenly popped up on my phone. Immediately after, the company group, the resident group, and even WeChat moments were all forwarding this news. "Dear citizens, the Meteorological Bureau has issued the latest typhoon warning. A super typhoon will make landfall from the southeast coast this evening and will pass through our city. Please take precautions and ensure your personal safety during this time. Seeing this news, people online quickly started complaining bitterly. The residents in the group also began to lament. Although our apartment complex was not in the central path of the typhoon, with the neighboring county experiencing a typhoon, we definitely wouldn't escape being affected. The group chat quickly started another round of supply exchanges. Urgently need bottled water. Trading a bag of instant noodles for a bottle. Does anyone have diarrhea medicine? Yesterday I picked up some food floating on the water, and now my stomach hurts really bad. Who has a power bank? My phone is almost out of battery. Buying for 1,000 yuans. Looking at these messages, my heart felt even more panicked. Natural disasters like typhoons, I had only ever seen them on TV before. Now it was truly happening right next to me. I had never felt such intense fear. I finally managed to fall asleep with my quilt covering my head. But in my daze, I was jolted awake again by the rapid sound of rain. For the past half month, the outside had been under a continuous red rainstorm warning. But this time the rainfall seemed unprecedentedly heavy. It was as if the sky had been torn open, and torrential rain poured down like columns. The windows were smashed with a loud banging sound, as if in the next second they wouldn't be able to hold up, and would shatter completely. Rainwater quickly flowed in through the window cracks. I didn't dare to go wipe it up like before. Terrified the glass would shatter, and I would be swept into the endless rainstorm. Gradually, I felt something was wrong. The sky was already faintly light, yet I still couldn't see anything clearly. A few minutes later, rapid knocking suddenly came from my door. Wei Yang, it's Siu. The familiar voice gave me a trace of security. I didn't know what had happened to Siu, but she was soaking wet all over. As soon as she saw me open the door, she hurriedly said, I just received news that a tornado was spotted in the south. It will probably reach our apartment complex very soon. My heart tightened. A tornado? That's a natural disaster even more terrifying than a typhoon. And extremely destructive. Tornadoes move extremely fast. With the weather outside, there was no time to run. We could only find ways to save ourselves. Siu glanced around my house. Remember, you must stay away from the windows. If things get bad, hide in the bathroom. Seeing me nod, Siu didn't stay any longer and jogged away to notify the next household. Time waited for no one. I first opened my best friend Yao Yao's bedroom and moved all her valuables and the first aid kit out. If I could successfully survive this rainstorm crisis and my best friend returned, I would definitely hand these things over to her personally. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I divided all my supplies into 3 portions. One portion I hid in the bedroom closet. One portion I put in the storage room. And one portion I put in the bathroom. After doing all this, I grabbed a barrel of drinking water and a backpack full of supplies and sat down tightly against the bathroom wall. I took a deep breath and looked at the small window, sealed with wooden boards. I had done everything I could. The rest was up to fate. The heavy rain violently battered the window. The wait for the tornado to arrive felt excruciatingly long with every passing minute and second. Time slipped away minute by minute. I don't know how long it had been when suddenly a scream came from outside. The tornado is here. I couldn't see the scene outside, but the slight swaying of the building was unmistakable. That rumbling roar and the sound of buildings shattering along its path continuously invaded my eardrums. My legs turned to jelly, and my heart was pounding wildly. I was extremely terrified that our building would collapse. I had seen scenes of a tornado passing through on TV. The tornado mixed with rainwater, sweeping up vehicles, trees, and even various buildings, surging forward with apocalyptic momentum. I don't know how long passed, but a crack sounded from the adjacent room. The glass shattered. Immediately after, the building vibrated. I don't know if it was the wardrobe or the bed that was flung against the wall, making a huge bang. My heart jolted. That adjacent room was my bedroom. If I hadn't listened to Siu just now and insisted on staying in the bedroom, by this moment, I'd probably be dead. I didn't dare think about it anymore. The howling wind outside the wall was getting closer. I clenched my jaw, my entire body drenched in cold sweat. The magnitude of the building swaying grew larger and larger. Suddenly, there was a violent shaking, as if something had come charging and fiercely smashed into the building with a buzzing sound. I was thrown against the opposite wall by the momentum. Fortunately, the mountain of supplies absorbed a large amount of the impact force for me. There were continuous screams outside. I didn't know if someone had been swept into the water. I pressed myself tightly against the wall, trying hard to suppress the terror in my heart. I don't know how long it had been, but the building's vibration finally stopped. I carefully listened to the movement outside and found that the sound of the wind had also died down a lot. The tornado had passed. The hallway was filled with intermittent sounds of crying. My legs were already numb. Holding onto a water pipe, I cautiously stood up. The living room was a complete mess. I opened the door to the storage room again, and luckily all the supplies inside were still there. By evening, affected by the typhoon weather, the torrential rain made a comeback. This time, without the protection of the glass, the living room and bedroom were quickly drenched. I found a few wooden boards and sealed all the windows. Although it definitely wasn't as sealed as the custom glass, it was still better than nothing. By now, the floodwater had risen to the height of the 15th floor. I lived on the 22nd floor, although I wasn't at risk of being submerged for the time being. If the heavy rain continued, the apartment getting flooded was only a matter of time. When that time comes, would the surviving residents in the complex still be able to hold onto their moral bottom lines? On the 25th day of the rainstorm, the floodwater had surged up to the 18th floor. More and more human waste began accumulating in the stairwells. Whether it was eating, drinking, or answering nature's call, everything was done in the stairwell. This apocalypse brought about by the torrential rain was slowly pushing the limits of human endurance. I walked to the window, and upon seeing the sight downstairs clearly, my heart trembled slightly. I didn't know since when, but more and more corpses were floating on the water's surface. I picked up my phone and called my parents again. Every day since the apocalypse began, before going to sleep, I would call my parents and my best friend Yao Yao once. Even though they hadn't connected a single time, there was just an inexplicable obsession and struggle in my heart. At this moment, a knock suddenly came from the door. "Young lady. My child and I haven't eaten anything for 3 days. Could you give us some food?" It was the neighbor lady from across the hall. I started to hesitate internally. In this apocalyptic time, the supplies I had left wouldn't last me much longer either. But looking outside at the rising floodwaters, in a few more days, the entire building might be completely submerged. By then, no matter how many supplies I had, it would be of no use. What's more, when the scumbag Mao Bufan tried to trick me into opening the door, it was this neighbor lady who kindly warned me. Otherwise, I would have fallen right into his trap. Thinking of this, I opened the door without hesitation. I saw the lady and the little boy looking extremely weak. I quickly brought them into the room and brought out some food. Before leaving, the lady gave me a lifebuoy as a token of gratitude. On the 35th day of the rainstorm, the floodwater had risen to the 21st floor. Siu and I had no choice but to run to the rooftop. I squeezed together with some other residents. On the 40th day of the rainstorm outbreak, the floodwater was rising higher and higher. It was almost about to breach our final line of defense. Just when everyone was about to give up, their last shred of hope, a rescue team drove into the complex. Shortly after, the rescue team members entered the stairwell. But in sheer disbelief, I saw my dad's figure. I hurriedly ran over. When I saw his face clearly, I excitedly hugged my dad. I couldn't even believe this was real. Tears involuntarily streamed down my face. In the time that had passed, I had thought of many possibilities. Except I had never thought that my dad, worried about my safety, would disregard his own safety, travel thousands of miles to join the rescue team, just to be able to find me sooner. At that moment, my mom also walked over to me. I burst into tears again, so emotional that I couldn't even speak. Dad rubbed my head and pulled out a familiar pendant from his pocket. This is Yao Yao's. Yao Yao. Did she also escape safely? Dad smiled and nodded. My heart, which had been terrified every day, finally settled down. We were saved. Not only that, the sky outside had cleared up. The rainstorm apocalypse was over.